Hey, I'm Chris. Today I wanted to run through a really successful campaign for a client of mine. Amazing client, helping mums start businesses and actually get results with those businesses. So it's a really cool model. It's really based around, obviously, it's a business opportunity offer. And it's really based around mums who are most predominantly stay at home mums and how they can leverage platforms like Amazon to create e-commerce businesses. So the cool thing with these guys is that they can actually really get the results for the clients, which is a very big thing for me. I only like to work with ethical and integral people who generate results that they say they will generate. So on the front end, I want to talk about what we implemented for them in terms of a strategy that is working overall, so that you can go ahead and replicate that as well, or work with us to do so. So the cool thing here is that we've probably spent around $50,000, and we've generated initially around $40,000 in gross revenue from the book funnel directly, and then we've of course had a good amount of back end buyers come through the funnel as well. With that all in place, that ultimately leads to a very, very successful campaign for us in general. So the whole goal with people like this is to get their cost to acquire a new customer as low as possible, so that anything on the back end is just gravy. It's essentially profit, profit, profit. And that really helps to make this whole model of customer acquisition as sustainable and as scalable as possible. So with this particular client, we got them up to $300 per day in ad spend, US dollars. And generally speaking, what works here for us in terms of this sales page and header is the fact that we are calling out with specificity who our audience is, and then what results they can generally get from working. So what works for this particular client's funnel in terms of the header section here is that we are specifically calling out who the book is for. So it's for mamas who know that they want more in their life. Alongside that, we also are calling out what expected results are. Now, we played with a couple things here. We actually played with a subhead that was or showed bigger results. And it wasn't necessarily an average typical result that a client would get, just so that we could potentially attract people who really wanted that big outcome. But what we found is that the more tangible 284 on average per day is a much more realistic number for people to believe. Previously we had, helping mama bears earn over 6 or 7 figures with this kind of business model. And it didn't seem realistic to the audience. The other things that we did try was using the actual book title and subtitle to run as the headline, and that was just too basic. It was a good enough initial launch mechanism or medium, but it wasn't a scalable one for us. And coming down, the thing I love about this format is that we just tell them right away, here's why you'll love this book. We give them 5 things so they can really help envision what the book is going to do for them. We show them the book as well, show, don't tell. Here's the book. Here's why you're going to love it. Where should we send a copy to? So we're adding in our full name, email, phone number, and we're still getting, we've had thousands and thousands of leads come through. And essentially this acts as a first step in the sales process. So this is ultimately where our abandoned carts and things like that come into place. When they complete this form, but not the second order form, then we're able to send them some more emails to get them back to buy the book. The other thing that works well for this particular medium is that we're doing a what's called free plus shipping book. And that essentially is, hey, the book is free, so you get a free copy. You just need to pay X amount for shipping and handling. And typically that's a certain amount for a domestic shipping and handling. So, if you're in Australia, domestic would be your country, Australia. If you're in the States, it would be the States, and so on. And then you'd usually pay a higher price for international. So that works fantastic. Then what we've done is added in 2 social proof and credibility elements. So here's where they were featured, Apple News Plus. CEO Weekly, Mashable, etc. Like this is a credibility building piece. And the thing to remember here is that these credibility elements must be relevant to your audience. If you have an audience that doesn't know what CEO Weekly is, then how is this going to be relevant to them? You might as well have said that you're featured in a local newspaper that no one knows about unless they're a local, right? So it's really something to consider, making sure that you have relevant featured in. The other thing that we did was #1 bestseller in home-based businesses, which is like right up the alley of the book category. And so that really helps to solidify that, hey, you're buying a best-selling book. Now, I won't get into the details of how much bestseller weights on people's minds, whether it's a huge accolade or not, but it is better than not being a bestseller. I'll just say that. The next piece is essentially going into a lot of social proof around the book. So the biggest thing for people in this specific market, and you can kind of take this as a lesson for yourself, is, they probably don't believe that it's possible for them. They are potentially stay-at-home mum. They potentially work 9-to-5 jobs. They certainly, their husbands do. They're raising kids. And to have someone come through and say, hey, did you know you can actually sell 200 units of this specific product and make $1,000 per day, and show that proof, helping them cross those barriers of disbelief is the most important thing we can do. To then further go, hey, it's actually because of this system, that actually solidifies why the book is something that they need to purchase. Okay. So these screenshots are all relevant to the book because the book is based on a challenge that they've run that helped generate these results. And so we like to add in a lot of social proof in our sales pages right away if it's a market that might not believe that the results can be achieved typically. The next thing that we like to go into doing is, talking about the book, more social proof, a little bit more inside the book, a little bit more tangible tactical feedback, why Stephen and Chelsea are qualified to give you information around this kind of stuff, and some guarantee kind of stuff. So all of that is a bit mumbo jumbo, but certainly the header elements are what works really well for the book itself. Now, as we go into the sales process, when they go from step 1 to step 2, the cool thing here is that full name, email, phone number will be pre-populated. All they need to do is fill out their shipping address and actually pay for the book itself. Now, if you have Stripe and Link and whatnot, it'll automatically go in there. Most of these people won't. And then the other thing that works really well for us is actually a couple things here, but certainly auto adding the upsell or order bump to the purchase process. So they don't need to manually do that. If they want, they can undo it, which is fine. They just click on remove, or they click on added to order again, and it will remove it from their checkout. But with it standard there, that helps to boost our average order value right away. The other thing that works and converts really well, and this is, I'm not sure if it's possible for your system that you're using, is we're showing the book at full price here. It's $19.95. And in fact, the sales page actually says $28.73, right? So we could probably even list it higher. And then we're crossing it out and going, hey, it's actually $0 for you. And so, having specificity around where you're charging them because you said it's free, just pay shipping and handling. This system is really cool. It's called Quick Convert, and you can actually show the full price, then a discounted price, and then you can go into, hey, this is the shipping cost. And even down to the point of if I changed my country to Australia, I think there's actually a global international shipping cost. And so, the shipping now updates from what it was domestic to what it is internationally. Hugely, hugely beneficial. Now, I'm not going to specifically show you the numbers that they've achieved because that would be untrustful for me as a service provider, and I haven't gotten permission for that. But just know that we've sold, thousands of books at this point. Our average conversion rate for people to click onto the sales page and to actually buy the book is around 7%, which is really good for cold traffic, especially for like a mass market offer like this, where, people aren't necessarily sophisticated business owners and things like that. And then what we've seen is that we have around a 10% uptake in the next offer in the funnel. Now, the next offer is a $97 challenge version. So it's essentially a different modality to consume the same content. It's almost like a course version of the book. And then the following one after that is helping them overcome and find the perfect niche for them. Now, that one hasn't been a big converting element for us. It's actually only down around 5%. But all in all, this book funnel has helped us generate close to $50,000 in revenue on the front end, like I said. And then there's been, close to a few dozen sales on the back end out of the thousands. There's roughly 1,500 book buyers. So here's what's working with my client, Stephen and Chelsea's book funnel. And hopefully you can take some of the elements that we've discussed here and replicate them for yourself so that you have success. And of course, if you want help with your book funnel, your book ads, if you want to generate results like Stephen and Chelsea, hopefully, multiple 5-6 figures worth of revenue on the front and back end of your book funnel, then let's have a chat about it. Head to smartauthormedia.com/chat. There's a 30-minute time slot available. We can work out your book strategy and some next steps on helping you implement a similar system for your book, so you can start getting some really, really high quality customers and clients from your book today. That's smartauthormedia.com/chat. Look forward to speaking to you soon and hope you enjoyed this awesome piece of breakdown content.